Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bloom with Becca podcast. I'm your host, Becca. However, we have a very, very special guest on today. This is Emmy Rosam. She is my best friend, but she is also my manager for brand work and all of that good stuff. This episode is for you if you are looking at tips of how to be a better creator, if you're wanting to be a content creator, how to stand out to a talent manager. Emmy owns her own talent management agency called the Aesthete Collective. I would not be a full-time YouTuber if it weren't for Emmy. Hand on heart, this is so true. You've completely changed the game for me. You've done so much for me, and so I'm so excited to have you on the podcast.
I am so excited to be here, and also would like to acknowledge I also wouldn't be here without you.
Okay, I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, Emmy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Look at us in our professional little studio. Very good.
And I'm wearing a suit today.
You are wearing a suit. You look very
like
professional.
a real manager.
Well, you are. You are a real manager. That's why you're here today.
Yeah, that is true. I always forget it. In my head, I'm still like a 15-year-old teenage girl.
You've just turned 25. So I was going to say you're not far off, but I guess 10 years.
Oh my God.
Right? 10 years ago, you were 15.
No, that's really depressing when you think about it.
98 babies. Like, this is what we're going through this year.
Wow. To be fair, though, 25 has been a sleigh so far.
Yeah? How long's it been? A month?
Yeah.
A month of being 25.
Yeah. And I think I've only cried once.
Oh, good. Well done.
Yeah.
So an improvement from 24. That's good.
Yeah.
For those, who are listening, we are in a studio today, which is very exciting because I have such an important special guest with me today. So I wanted to impress her. And she's in London because you're based in Edinburgh.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Where you used to be based.
Yes, where I am from originally, even if I don't sound like it, which I get a lot of
Definitely
comments
don't sound like it.
No, anytime someone meets me, they're like, you're not from Scotland. No. What are you playing at?
You very much suit the London lifestyle.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I feel like you are a London girly.
Okay. I do miss Edinburgh. Edinburgh's very special. But you have an agency based in Edinburgh. What we're going to talk about is not specific to the Scotland influencer scene. We're going to be talking all things influencer management, being a content creator today and what that means and how that's changed so rapidly over the years that we've been in the industry. The reason why I wanted to have you on to talk about this is because you have been in the industry longer than anyone else I can think of. When did you start did you start
15.
on YouTube? Yeah,
literally.
10 years. So 2014?
Yeah.
That's impressive, and I feel like there's not a lot of people who can speak with that many years of experience. So my first question to you is, can you just give us your elevator pitch? Who are you? What do you do? Why are you here today?
Yeah. This is always so complicated because how I got where I am today is very different from anyone else I know in the industry. But I was a ex-YouTuber and started as a YouTuber, and then through university decided I didn't like my graphic design or photography degree and wanted to go into marketing, to work marketing. And then part-time while I was doing that, ended up helping influencers with my YouTube knowledge from my old collaborations and, the work that I had done in the influencer space to help them get work. And then I accidentally started a talent management agency without realizing I was managing 3 to 4 talent.
I love how you say accidental.
Because it wasn't, for my defense, I was hanging out with friends and then...
I was one of these friends, by the way.
Yeah, and we were chatting about getting collaborations and work, and I said, I can help. To me, it was helping friends, but to make it seem more legit than just me emailing from my Emmy Rosam Gmail for my friends, I decided in 2 hours to make a Wix website and come up with an agency name and make a professional looking website so people would take me more seriously. So it started as a joke and just helping friends.
Hilarious.
It's so funny, but I didn't think that it would go on and go as far as it did.
Yeah.
So to me, it just started as helping friends, and then it turned into helping more friends, and then friends of friends, and then now I have a full talent management agency.
Yeah, and your roster, how many people are signed to you?
Oh my God, from the top of my head, I know it's around 10.
And it's not just you anymore running things.
No, I have help. which is fab, especially my sister. She is our executive talent manager.
It's a very, very niche skill.
It's so niche.
Yeah.
Very hard to get into.
Yeah.
Because I did do, my old university actually asked me to host placements for them at one point because they were looking for more people in marketing, which is funny because I didn't get rejected from marketing at Napier, but they told me I'd have to go back into first year instead of like going into like third year when I wanted to switch.
Right. I had a similar thing with my music degree, so I feel you.
Yeah.
Look at us. No, I know. I literally don't do anything music related anymore, so I can't talk, but you can.
I had to go through like portfolios and CVs and then interview like candidates for that and stuff. And there's like no information or resources really out there for people trying to get into like talent management and that kind of space. So like trying to find someone who has a good understanding of that already is like a needle in a haystack.
Exactly. And it's just a coincidence that your sister was the one.
I know. I think it helped.
A nice coincidence.
Because similar to me, she was also a creator first. Like she was working with Calvin Klein.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, like she was sorting her own collaborations as a micro-influencer doing UGC, but also having a completely different niche from me.
When you say micro-influencer, what do you consider like those numbers to be? What makes a micro-influencer?
Everyone has their own sort of definition. Like when you Google what a micro-influencer is, some people could say under 5K, under 10K, under 50K, under 100K. For me, I'd say a micro-influencer is under 20K on their main platform because numbers doesn't mean anything, but I also think it depends on the amount of work that you do. I feel like if micro creator usually means like you're small, so you're not working with as many brands and getting as many paid work. You can get a lot of like gifted and stuff, but I don't define tiers of creators based on like their specific follower account. I look more at engagement.
With your roster, you have talent that is as small as what, like under 10K, like in that category, and then all the way up into 100,000, like
$250,000.
Oh, that's me. Thank you. As of like a couple of days ago, very exciting. The point is like you're not looking for number of following. You're not looking at numbers, you're looking at engagement, and it's so interesting. And I think that's a big misconception within the industry. And yeah, I want to dive into all of that. I want you to give all the tips and everything of how to actually stand out nowadays, and especially from the perspective of someone who is a talent manager and you know what to look out for and you know what brands are looking out for. If you're coming at it from you want to make it a job and you want to make it a business and make money. At what point did you say like, oh, I need help. I need to sign on someone like your sister. How did you feel?
It's something that I talk about regularly with my dad, actually, is like scaling the business because you don't want to scale too soon. But you do get to a point where you know you're at your max of what you can do by yourself and you know you could do more. So if I know that I can't manage more than 4 to 5 talent myself, max 5 max, and I had more than that. I think I had like 5 or like 6 maybe, and other creators that I wanted to sign, but I knew if I signed these people I wouldn't be giving them the full attention, and I also wouldn't be maximizing efficiency. So I know if I had help to come in and take over that, we could double the workload. And obviously like there's so much to go into with like salaries and paying, like making sure that I was able to cover the costs of hiring someone. And I literally just sat down, had a look at the numbers and went, yeah, we can do this, and went for it. But it's like, it's very scary because it's a risk. Could have jumped into it and it would have been too soon, which is also totally fine. Yeah. Like you don't really know until you try it if it is worth it or not. Yeah. If you don't find the right person, it's sometimes not.
And that, because you will have people and it doesn't work out, and especially with what you do, because we literally just said like how specific that skill is, and tell me if I'm mistaken, but like the negotiation side is brutal.
Yeah, like we did have, like I said, like a university student. She preferred to do social media side of things, and she really wanted to learn how to do like influencer side, which we taught her. But at the end of her placement, she got to do real work experience.
That's good, especially work like that.
Yeah, I think it's really invaluable to actually do the work, because what she was saying is like at the end of it, it was so much harder than she thought it would be because she just couldn't grasp the negotiation side. Yeah. It's sales.
It is
You're
sales.
Constantly
very salesy.
Pitching, asking brands for money. And like when I was on holiday with Cami, he was like, do you not find it weird? Like you're just emailing brands asking them for money. And I'm like, well, not really, because like 60% of the time they're the ones asking me how much money I want. You know, like...
Yeah, when you word it like how Cami did, then it sounds odd. But you know what? It's because it's just such a new industry and loads of people have not got their head around it yet. To some people, it's ridiculous that influencers get paid to do what they do.
Hand on my heart, think influencers are overpaid.
Yes.
For the profession.
Let's put that in here right now. Okay. Because this is not a pod where we're going to sit and complain. Basically, we love what we do. Yes. And we're very, very lucky to do what we do. And this is why I wanted to make an episode about it, because there are loads of people who want to maybe get into this industry. Of course. Like, the benefits of it are crazy. Mm-hmm. So we're not sitting here complaining.
No, not at all. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world. I feel like there's a lot of other industries like this too, like finance and tech and stuff, where the money is insane. Like, not saying the money we make is insane, just like overall potential. I've seen a lot of discourse on TikTok and stuff about an influencer complaining that they should have gotten like 30k for a TikTok and that was their rate.
I think this came up for me as well.
Yeah, like it's been a current ongoing like conversation, and I think that influencers overall are overpaid, but there's a demand for it.
Yeah.
Like that's just how the industry and the market works. But like compared to other professions that are a lot more difficult, like teaching and the NHS, like doctors, all that.
Are you kidding me? Of course.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not a nurse. I'm not saving lives.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here chatting to my friend on a pod and I love it. And it is such a privilege that we get to do this. You see those TikToks pop up and it's tone deaf.
Completely tone deaf. A lot of influencers, their head just grows. One day they're just so far out of touch of reality.
The thing with doing what we do is like 1 month you could be bringing in so much money, and the next month you could see a quarter of that.
It's not a stable industry.
No.
At all.
So do not just go ahead and quit your job. Question I think a lot of people want to know, content creators who, no matter who you are, you're going to have a moment where you struggle with this. Growth slows down. What's your advice for if you have been trying the same thing, say you're ticking all the boxes, you're being consistent, you think you're uploading high quality content on whatever platform this is. If an influencer comes to you and they're like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not seeing growth?
Yes.
What's your advice to someone who's not seeing growth?
I think you really need to look and evaluate your own content, because you might think it's really good, but it might not be what people want to see. And I think a lot of content nowadays, especially with like TikTok and people's, oh my God, what's the word? Attention span.
Attention span
people's
is
attention
completely different now.
So your content has to give the viewer something.
Yeah.
It can't just be pretty or aesthetically pleasing. And just because you like something doesn't mean everyone else is going to.
Yeah.
If you're doing as much as you possibly can and nothing's happening from it, then it's not working. And it could just be that it's not reaching the right audiences. So then it's like, how do you do that? I think it's good until you have like a established platform and sort of know your own content pillars to sort of, like spaghetti, just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
So
there's a really nice like comfort in that when you're maybe a bit smaller, you feel like you can actually experiment a bit more because there's less eyes on you.
I think people have heard so much to like niched, and they've niched down
you have
too
to
much.
Niche, you have to niche.
Do not have
not
to
in
niche.
The early days. You have to find what you actually enjoy doing. Oh my God, if you fall into a niche, and I've seen it with creators that maybe they can do it for like a year and then they want to suddenly be lifestyle creators and no one's watching.
That's what happened with my old channel. It was graphic design. Yeah, like my graphic design content was how I got like 60% of my growth. And then when I didn't want to do that anymore, that's all people wanted to watch.
Yeah.
And my channel was originally me, but then because it was getting views and subscribers, I kept the design stuff going, but then it was so hard to go off and do that. Yeah.
And then it doesn't feel authentic and and you're not happy as a creator. You're not gonna create that same quality content anymore.
Yep.
It is just the way it is. I remember in my earlier days, I was doing a lot more fashion, but like hauls on YouTube.
Yeah, I remember.
I've played around in like every niche.
You tried everything.
I really did.
And it's like you can see one channel, one person doing something, like hauls, for example.
Oh, it's doing so well for them.
So well for them, and then you try it and it doesn't really work. And I feel like don't just try something once and then give up on it. Give it some time, but also don't be afraid to play around with other things and other ideas.
Yeah. It's like, it almost feels like, oh, you have to really think about what's unique about you. What's your skill? What do you bring to the table? What can people learn from? But that isn't necessarily the case. And that is why there's so many lifestyle influencers who technically all do the same thing. We all do daily vlogs, weekly vlogs, but it's like your personality. It's only you, or maybe it's your editing style. Like no one's going to be you, because someone might try copy you, but they're always going to be like a step behind.
Yep. And it's also like so much of those things that you just mentioned, like your editing style and like all of that comes with like trying new things and adapting and evolving. Like you usually don't go straight into YouTube, for example, of being like, I'm going to only make fashion videos and they're all going to be edited in this style and all my thumbnails are going to look like this, because you try it and it doesn't work. So like as you're trying different things, you come up with new ideas and you get better, and then you end up falling sort of into like something that you probably didn't originally intend on going into, but you've learned and you've grown, and then you found an audience for it.
For sure. It's, such good advice. What would you say to someone who's like primarily a short form content creator who maybe wants to start YouTube vlogs or something? Because I know a lot of people who are maybe in that boat and they're like, but it's so much time doing a YouTube video or podcast, like long form content.
It does take a lot more time. But I think the amount of people I know that do short form content can almost like bulk film or do a few videos at once. So like personally, when I've done my short form content, sometimes I'll film like mini vlogs, but at the same time I'm doing like an outfit of the day, and then at the same time I'm also doing a UGC video for a brand, and then I put a whole day aside to do short form. And
that's smart.
I do the same for YouTube, but for one video. So like planning out your videos. I think do you plan your videos?
I do try, and I do see the videos that are more strategically planned, maybe a little bit more scripted, might perform better. Actually, someone gave me a really good tip the other day, and they were talking to this creator who was like, they always know what the title is going to be before they even start filming. And I'm like, that is probably one of my weaker points. I'll just start filming, which is okay. I'll just try film as much as I can, and then I'll work it out. What is this theme? What's the whatever? But if you have a really clear idea from the beginning,
I think with long form, that's where a lot of people get overwhelmed, because what YouTube actually told me when I went to Google HQ was they said that...
Yeah, she's been to... just humble brag.
I'm a professional.
Google, know her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so cool. She went to Google HQ.
Yeah, so, I went
Sorry.
I went to a conference with YouTube, and they were talking a lot about short form.
Yeah.
And long form in general, but like had like a whole panel on short form. And what they were saying is that people going from short form into long form, a lot of the long form creators nowadays plan their thumbnails and have them done before they've even done the video.
Thumbnails?
Yes.
That's not me.
That's crazy. But I feel like
it's a good tip,
if you're not someone that can like come up with a concept or write a concept down, for example, a morning routine. If you think about the visual of rather than writing down stuff, if you're a visual person, it's easy. It's almost like a mood board.
Yeah.
So you can put together a visual of what you want. So if you're like, I want like a sunrise, then to film a sunrise. If you want to have like an aesthetic breakfast, you will then
do the food shop.
Yep. So like
Make sure you got it ready.
Plan it almost that way, because I think I was actually talking to one of my other talents today about this, is like a lot of people seem to be struggling lately, especially in longer form content, is that they're not meeting the viewers' expectations, and that's why they're not getting a lot of like viewer retention or growth. And it's because it's not clickbait, but it's almost like they're trying for a vlog just to put random clips together to make it a certain length. Like you need something to flow. And I feel like you can people overcomplicate or overthink it, but like people are going to click on your video because they see the title and the thumbnail. So you should set the viewer's expectations there. Of example, if it's a morning routine again, you're going to put morning routine in the title, and you're going to have a thumbnail that shows that it's going to be a morning. Are you in bed? Are you getting out of bed? Are you stretching? Or,
and maybe even the style.
Yep. A collage of all the lifestyle girlies, if you search morning routines,
we're all the same.
We
really are.
Very similar, still all different, but like you can get ideas and inspo, and like people are going to, from the thumbnail, recognize that you can have morning routine in text. Like it's that easy. But if they click a video and the first 2 minutes is not a morning routine, and like you just sitting and chatting to the camera for 4 minutes talking about something unrelated and then you go into your morning routine, they're going to click out of it.
You've lost 80%. For YouTube, a huge metric to actually pay attention to is your audience retention and click-through rate, but audience retention, because YouTube wants to know, how long is this creator actually keeping people on our platform?
Yep.
Especially when they are competing against like TikTok. Sure, you've got that 10-second video, but you're probably on TikTok for like an hour.
Audience retention, if I look at my YouTube shorts, it's like 110, 115%.
Yeah.
If I look at my YouTube videos, it's like 50%.
Yeah. That's good. 50% is good.
50% has been my recents, which I've been working on.
For real. That's really good.
Trying to analyze
That's
my
hard.
analytics.
If you don't know, 50% is hard.
It's usually like 35% or something. But it's also like, I think there's so many factors to consider. Like if you have a viral video, for example, or like a blow up, people could like click on it and be like, oh, this isn't in my interests or not, whatever. Like they can click out. So there's so many factors that can like skew.
It's actually so interesting. SEO and all of it is so important. And I feel like I focused a lot more on that in the early days. I loved it actually, which I think got me to where I am today. And I kind of like that I can take a backseat now, like because I have built an audience. And so I'm not there like worrying about tags and stuff as much.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's like definitely something to pay attention to in the early days, because you can learn so much from what you're doing wrong by looking in the back end, your analytics.
It's my favorite place to be. I check it every single day.
It's my favorite. I have a question, because this is a big bit of advice that has been fed recently, and it's to actually not wish for virality. What's your take on that?
Well, for starters, it's so much harder to actually go viral, and also everyone's definition of viral is different. Viral for one person could be 50k views. Viral for someone else could be 10 million views. Different platforms, like a YouTube short is easier to go viral. It
kind of is right now.
Yeah, than a long form video, because of the nature of the algorithm and how random it is. Same with like TikTok, Instagram Reels, for example. There's nothing wrong with trying to make a video that you know is in a space where it could get a lot of views, especially when you're growing a platform. Like not like trying to make a viral video, but almost jumping on like a viral trend.
Yeah.
Personally, my favorite like strategy for growing a YouTube channel, or we'll say YouTube channel, what I'm doing myself is having a mix of like viral, trendy content and evergreen content.
That word, so true.
It's so overused.
It is so true, though. That's really good advice. Evergreen and trendy content. That's the perfect mix.
Yeah, so like on my channel, I sort of know what type of content pillars I have. If you don't know what content pillars are, it's just like the type of content you'll make. So
do you actually like sit and write them out?
No, they sort of just came. Routines for me, I know, will get views. Because
Same.
In the 100%. Lifestyle niche, it's still such a highly searched concept. I don't
know why. I love a morning routine, I do. But a morning routine's been a thing for like 10 years.
Yeah.
It's like old school YouTube, but not like what's in my bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
people are still watching morning routines.
It's stuck around. And
it's stuck.
The thing that I was sort of like, I can't do a morning routine like more than 4 times a year for each season.
You can.
You can, because to be fair, a morning routine, you can call it a morning routine for SEO purposes, but it's a morning vlog. Use those keywords and still deliver different type of videos for each one, but still all within the same overarching theme. So people are going to click on them, feel satisfied because they're watching your Sunday morning routine, because it's spending a Sunday with you, but it could be in a vlog format, it could be in artistic format, in like, or different cinematography. Like there's so many ways that you can create that type of content.
Very well said. I want to take it away from YouTube a little bit, because we're both, we freaking love YouTube.
I could talk for days about short form algorithms at the moment. It's all I've been speaking to everyone about,
because fascinating.
People are not using Reels enough.
Okay, so that was my next question.
Yes.
We're going to bring up a little case study. So I want to talk about Estelle. She is on your talent roster.
Yes.
How long has she been signed to the Aesthete?
A couple months. I think she was one of our recent ones in. Estelle had 7,000 followers on Instagram, and she had around 30,000 on TikTok.
Okay.
And I wanted to sign her because of her TikTok.
So she wasn't seeing growth on Instagram?
No. So she was dominating a certain space in TikTok and was really struggling to get conversions over to her Instagram. Me and Sophie do like to have a chat about what you could be doing, like advice, different ways to grow your platforms, because obviously if you want to do socials full time, you want to have a good number of followers across all platforms rather than just focusing on one.
For sure, especially if you're trying to make this a job.
Yeah, because there are so many different brand campaigns over a variety of platforms, and then sometimes they cross over. But yeah, we gave her some like tips and advice on how to grow Instagram, because brands will also use your Instagram as like a portfolio for like gifting and PR and things like that. So if you sort of have an Instagram that looks just like for friends and family, just like casual, they might not be interested. But if you look like a content creator or you're posting content regularly, then you might be a better fit for them. So we were giving her advice on to do that because she hadn't ever really taken her Instagram seriously and wanted to grow that alongside her TikTok. We gave her that advice, and specifically Sophie said, because Sophie manages Estelle, you really need to be posting your TikToks as reels, because we have seen from our other creators, like Bethany, who posts...
Fantastic creator.
Amazing. She is...
Lovely girl as well.
Yeah, literally every day posting new content, and has got such consistent growth from that.
Yeah.
Where like you need to be
She
posting.
loves what she does, and you can really see it.
You can tell.
Yeah.
We were saying to Estelle, like, you know, some of the other girls have seen growth from posting reels. Like, here's some strategies that we think would work for you. Like, because basically she was saying she wanted to work with these brands, but we knew they wouldn't work with her current, not her following size, but just how her profile looked, because it was very casual. So we said, start posting the content you've already got, repurpose it, because it's there. So
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So she started posting that, and in 2 weeks, she went from 7,000 followers to 115,000.
115,000. 7K to 115,000. I'm sorry, but like I've never seen growth like that on Instagram, I don't think. Maybe like a Love Islander going into the villa.
Yeah. That's what it's comparable to.
And what happened? It was a video one particular video that like really hit the
she
algorithm.
listened to what we said, and TikTok has a great new feature now where you can save the video in the app before posting it without the watermark. So she saved her video that she filmed for a TikTok anyways, because she's got 65,000 on TikTok. Okay. So it grew from 30K in the last couple months. We were like, post it on there, because obviously if people are liking your content on one platform, they're probably also going to like it on another one.
And don't worry about the same people getting bored of seeing the same content. You're going to reach a new audience, which is what has happened.
Yes, because most creators, when you look at your insights for Reels, all the views come from 90% of people who don't already follow you. Yeah. So, yeah, I think people are too in their head of thinking that people are going to see the same amount, the same content on both platforms.
You cannot create content fresh, individual content for every platform.
Nope.
So, maybe some creators, I don't know how they do it. I'm a full-time content creator. I can't understand how people do that.
No, it's impossible.
It's crazy.
And it's like, if you already have the content there, recycle it.
Yeah, especially big one is YouTube Shorts, because I've seen a lot of people blow. I'm sorry to bring it back to YouTube.
That's another thing. Like, I'm telling the girls to get on.
Yeah, YouTube Shorts.
We've seen
so easy.
People who've gone from 0 to over 100K in a few months with no long form videos. Insane.
Just repurposing what they already have.
Yeah. So she posted a video on TikTok, and then posted it on Instagram, and then that got like a few thousand views, and it went up to a few 100,000 views, and it was doing really well. So then I think she posted another one, and then that went to 3 million views. But she posted it, and it was kind of steadily going like, 10K, like higher and higher. But I think it was like 5 days later or something that it went crazy. So I also feel like a lot of people will post things and then expect it to go viral then and there. It could take days, it could take weeks. Like, you need to give stuff time. And then I was messaging her like, keep posting. Like,
don't you dare stop.
Do not stop, because so many people will post that one thing and then just get very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Which is very overwhelming. Like, going from 300 people watching your stories to 15,000 is scary.
You, like, actually, I've not had that on Instagram. Yeah. I don't know, but I can imagine, like, that's just so many eyes on you. And if you're not used to that. Yeah. And also, naturally, I imagine she got some hate in there as well, if that's something you're not to say, because the content's bad. I imagine people are hating on it. I'm just saying, like, that is the game.
Yeah, whenever you have a viral video, because that was viral, it just, doesn't, there's always going to be, like, someone who it wasn't intended for them.
Mean to say, and it doesn't matter, but of course, like, that is not nice when you're getting it for the first time, or you're getting it like a mass amount of it. You're not used to that.
But she did say that she went in and just blocked some keywords that she knew would probably upset her scene. So she didn't, if anyone commented that, she wouldn't even see it.
Yeah, good.
So, she posted that, and then she posted another video like the next day, and then that got a few 100,000 views, and then she posted 2 more that got a few other 100,000 views. And we're talking her likes were like 15k, 20k,
Madness.
100k. Then I think her fourth reel after the first viral one, then that went like 1.5 million. So like, multiple. And she's still posting, but like that 1 week after, her other content on her reels that had 500 views, 1,000 views, are all now 50k plus views, 100, few couple.
So people liked what they saw, went back to go find more.
Scrolled, and then it's there. That doesn't happen to everyone, but I think it does just prove that short form content is like the way forward for growth now, especially on Instagram. But like the power of recycling your own content.
I want to know, what's the advice you would give a creator who is now starting to think about brand work? Like maybe they're getting approached by brands, maybe they're not, but they want to. Mm-hmm. How do you approach brands? How do you sell yourself? Actually, you have an ebook.
I do. I have a guide.
Okay, go buy it.
It's not massive, but it has everything. It's literally everything you need to know if you want to become a content creator or an influencer.
And make money as well.
Yep. In that, I have a template for pitching, a general what I have emailed before, what I've emailed that's gotten results, and also like how to find brand contacts.
Yes.
So like,
because we can't sit here and go through all of that advice, I really recommend going and looking at also her podcast, because you have the Talent Managers podcast where you talk about that stuff in a lot more depth.
Yes. We've got a whole episode on like rates. And
that was a big, because I went over to Instagram and I asked, what do you want to hear about? People were like, how much should I be
I also have in the PDF a rates guide, like a general guide, because as I say in that, like it's so dependent on brands, because smaller businesses will have a much smaller budget than a large brand, but like you also don't want to feel like you're getting taken advantage of.
For sure.
I have a general rates guide there. I will say though, the rates you give brands, they will usually 99% of the time come back with a lower offer. So always go in higher. Yeah.
Even if it feels a little scary.
So like in my head, I always think about like, what does this feel worth to me? And you figure that out more the more you make content. Because when you first start out, you don't want to charge too much, but you can build up. You can say like each collab, like I'm going to add on £50. I'm going to, get there. But I have a rates guide, which I think is industry standard from my personal experience for all follower sizings and on each different platform.
Juicy. A lot of people would want to get their hands on that kind of information, and it is available in your ebook.
Yes.
So I'll leave that linked on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Okay, if you were to give like 3 to 5 tips, what should people do if they want to start actually working with brands?
I always say this to talent, especially when we first sign them on, like, what are your dream brands to work with? But don't give me the condensed list of brands you think that you could maybe work with. Like, I want to know if tomorrow, like, you could work with any brand in the world, who would it be? Doesn't matter of your following size or content and stuff. And then I would write them down and then think, these are the brands I want to work with. Go and have a look on their social media. Go and have a look at the stuff that's on their Instagram. See what type of creators that they're working with, and then say, does my sort of profile fit in similarly with that? Would I be a good fit for this brand?
That's good advice.
Example, if you really want to work with a makeup brand, but you've posted absolutely nothing about makeup ever, why would they work with you? So then think, maybe I should start implementing more get ready with me's if you don't want to like be a makeup artist. Start trying to implement more of that type of content if they're the type of brands you want to work with and they're your end goal, because it will be a lot easier to pitch to them, because then you can send examples of like, here's previous work that I've done, like here's, examples, because a lot of the time the hair brand, for example, that have emailed us, they're like, we want to work with this creator, but can you send us hair related content, because we need to see if like she'd be a good fit, because if she just does fashion videos, might not be able to convert sales. And I think, like we were talking about earlier, like having a profile that's brand friendly, like if you are just posting on a private account
Oh, well, no.
Yeah, brands look at your Instagram as your portfolio, and if they can't see your content, they're not going to be able to work with you. Like, take a step back and have a look at your profiles, and before you even pitch or even email or reach out, do you look like a content creator?
Yeah.
Are you going off and making content organically? Do you have videos that brands can see, or like photos that they can see and be like, we could imagine our product in that, or we would like to do something like this? So I think like that's the first tip I have is, you know, get your profile up to something that you're
and
happy with.
You have advice for what you should have in your bio on Instagram is really important.
Yes. Top one is email, because if you want to work with brands are out there and they will see your profiles. Another thing is that also ties into this: engage with people in your niche. People that you're following. Follow other creators and comment on them, because that's how so many PR people find people, is going through comments, going through hashtags, and then search on Instagram. So for example, if you want to get invited to London-based events and you're a London beauty creator, make sure you have beauty content on your profile. Make sure you have London in your bio.
Yeah.
And then make sure that you have your email, not just like the email button where they can contact, but actually in your bio. Mine's actually on the top, the first line now, because
okay.
I don't, that's not required, but just like when it would be like the tap for more, it would be at the bottom. So if you just look on a phone, you would have to search. I think make it as easy as possible.
Imagine you were the brand.
Yeah, like I've worked brand side campaigns and on a desktop, which is how I usually search Instagram on a desktop. That's how I usually search for stuff, because it's much easier when you're doing like spreadsheets to put together like a list of potential creators to work with to send off to HR for approval.
Exactly.
You want to make it as easy as possible, and there's no email button on there.
Oh, true. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I think that's why I have it in your bio, because it just makes, like, if I'm on your TikTok and your Instagram's not linked, so I'm on Google searching your username trying to find an Instagram, and I get there and then there's no email contact,
you're gonna give up.
I'm going to give up, and you are immediately going to lose that opportunity. If it takes more than like 3 minutes for me to find your details, you've lost that. Like that's
doesn't
already
matter
done.
How good you are.
Yeah, because there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
So
and it doesn't look good to a brand. Like it doesn't look professional.
No, and a lot of brands do DM nowadays, especially for micro creators. They'll be like, we want to work with you and stuff like that. They don't always email. I think engaging as well with the brand. If you really want to work with a brand and you really love a brand, you're not even following them or commenting on their things. Like I personally really wanted to work with a few coffee brands, for example.
Yeah, coffee's like your thing that people love.
I love coffee. So
you love coffee. People who watch you love coffee.
I know. I love making little aesthetic reels of
I love
making my
it.
coffee with a little ASMR.
Everyone's gonna love that. Yeah,
I'm just like, that's like a silly little fun thing that I like did twice and didn't think would do well, and then it did well, and now I do that. But I've had coffee brands DM me after that and be like, we want to buy that content off you. That's another thing. Like if you're making high quality content already organically, there's so many opportunities now for brands to buy it as UGC.
Oh, true. I feel like a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people, especially when you're going into wanting to be a creator, you're afraid of how the people on your Instagram are going to judge you, so you don't want to post like an influencer because you're afraid that
people from high school.
Yeah, like, they're going to see and they're going to think that I'm trying to be an influencer. What's wrong with that?
At least you're trying.
What is wrong with that?
And then you might make it, and then they'll be like, oh, blah blah I went to school with is now an influencer. I
genuinely think you need to fake it until you make it.
Oh, for sure.
At the end of the day, no one really cares.
No, at all. You're overthinking it. Yep. It's not that deep.
And you could post that one video or that one photo and get an opportunity that opens a door for you that you wouldn't have if you're too scared to post.
Yeah. Just make stuff you're proud of. Have fun with it. Like you will succeed if you genuinely enjoy it. And if you don't genuinely enjoy it and you're doing it for things like money, you're not going to get there. You're not. There are so many other people who are more talented and enjoy it more. That's really harsh, but it's true.
It is true.
It's true.
I think don't be afraid to reach out to brands.
Seems scary at first.
It seems scary at first. I think it's very scary when you're sending your own emails versus when you have someone sending them for you. But I think don't take things personally, because 9 times out of 10, if a brand comes back and says, we can't work together, you can always ask for feedback. They'll tell you, needs to have more followers, or needs to have, we need a higher UK audience, or
stuff like that.
We need to see more fashion content, or this. Like, if brands say no, it doesn't mean never. It just means not now. And I have emailed brands before with 1 week and they're like, we don't have anything right now. Week 2, I literally email them the next week and they're like, yeah, we've got this coming up. Because campaigns and budgets are changing. Some brands work on a monthly basis, some work on a quarter basis, some will give you a week's notice. Like Robin just did one and the whole turnaround of that was 4 days. Email brands, put a pitch together. If you can, check out my template in my guide. I think people go way too much in depth. Brands don't have a lot of time. They will read 2 to 3 sentences and that's it. Send over your links. Yeah, you can send individual pitches to each different brand or you can just BCC them.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're sending a general one, there is nothing wrong with a good BCC. A lot of brands have specific PR emails, which are really easy to find through Google.
Yeah.
And like so many people are posting stuff on TikTok and Instagram now. A lot of resources out there for how to reach out to brand stuff.
Okay, there we go. Now you guys know how to get started with brand work. What are your like top 3 pieces of advice that no one's talking about in the industry? So obviously if you look up like how to be a content creator, people are going to be like, be consistent, create high quality content, engage with your community, whatever. What's like 3 unique pieces of advice?
My favorite saying right now, I just can't get over it, is just spaghetti. Throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
Oh, I like it.
Don't niche yourself down, but don't be afraid to like try new things. Bretman Rock, for example, started out as a makeup beauty guru and now lives on a farm with chickens and like
fair enough.
has lived so many lives doing so many content and he still has a following today. Don't be afraid to try another platform because people will usually tackle one platform at a time.
Yeah.
And then get really secure or feel comfortable. But I think if you put all your eggs in one basket and you wake up tomorrow and that account's gone, you don't have anything else. Not everyone is made to do YouTube. Not everyone is made to do TikTok. But if you're making long form content on one platform already and you like making long form, you can also do different things elsewhere. I don't think you should ever go into it trying to make money because 9 times out of 10, like you can see through that. I feel like family channels are a good example of that, or like content tailored to a younger audience. Like that is clearly a cash grab.
Okay, interesting.
I think it's because I've been watching so much Cody Co lately where he just like reacts to all these like channels and stuff, but you can tell like content is tailored to kids and it is easy money and it's very flashy. Like they're like, oh, and my new Lamborghini, and then it's like, oh, $1 million mansion, and like.
Can I say something off of this point? If you also genuinely business-wise, if your audience is primarily in that younger age group, brands are less likely to pay you.
Yeah.
They're less likely to pay you more because are 17-year-olds buying their product? Probably not.
No. And also very much think about the fact that if you do something like this full time, you're going to have to do this every single day. And is this something that you want to do every single day? And if the answer is yes, being able to monetize it is good. They always say don't go into this industry wanting to make money. There's nothing wrong with wanting to monetize if you can.
Yeah.
Especially on a platform like YouTube where you can monetize and like TikTok creator funds and stuff. If it's an option, it's an added bonus. But I think a lot of people try to go full-time way too quickly. And especially with how...
I was going to ask about this.
Yeah, with how the industry works. And there's so many variables and factors that people don't consider or think that they'll just jump straight into full-time. And then they're struggling. And then you're trying to force content out there to try and make money. And it's not happening. And then the more you do it, the more frustrated, the worse your content gets. The less people want to work with you. It's like you're spiraling.
And it becomes really obvious that you're just making content for it to be sponsored.
Yeah. And I think not every influencer has to be a full-time influencer.
I agree.
It's very, very hard to do. And
of course not.
The amount of people I know that have gone, I want to be a full-time creator, and then they jump into it and go, it's actually really lonely.
I don't.
And I have no structure.
Such a good point.
I have no structure in my day.
Again, not sitting here complaining because for me, this is my dream job. This is like the best job in the world, but it doesn't mean it is for everyone, and that's okay. It can be glamorized. Like we don't film the days where it's really not cute and you are actually at your laptop for 12 hours, but you do it because you love it.
Yes.
And it, you get to a point where it is very rewarding financially, but yeah, it's a really interesting one. People who do jump to be full-time a little too early. I've said this, I think I did a little like Q&A in a recent episode, but like for me, I was making double from YouTube than I was from my full-time job for a while. And it wasn't until it was like 4 times more from what I brought home like every month from a full-time job with a salary that I was like, oh, okay, I can go full-time with YouTube. Like it actually doesn't make sense to dedicate all my time to a full-time job.
Nothing has to be a permanent decision. You don't have to go, I'm going to be a full-time creator, jump straight into it, and then it doesn't work out and you're trying to make it fit and force it.
Because there are a lot of elements to it that are like the side of like being a business owner that is not for everyone. Like we've had to learn, we're both owners of limited companies. Flex? No, it's not.
It's so
cute.
stressful.
It's not. I fucking hate it.
So hard.
But it's like beneficial tax wise, and for our position, like we've had to do it. You do not learn that in the nice happy early days when you're just creating content. Like
it's almost like the idea of it is romanticized. Also, put money aside for taxes.
Oh my god. So creators, like as soon as you start earning money,
yes.
and listen, I wasn't great with this. I didn't have a business card for a long time. I always recommend you get a business card because it just keeps it separate and it keeps it easy.
Having an account for all of your collabs and stuff, just for tracking purposes. If you can, spreadsheet. I write down every month like what collabs are coming in and like how much is paid each month. Because when you make over £1,000,
that's it, guys. 1,000
in a 12-month period, you have to register for self-assessment and do a self-assessment every year now for the rest of your life with the government, which is very easy. In the UK, I'm not a tax person. Do not take tax.
Disclaimer, neither of us are financial advisors here, but just speaking from our experience. Thing is a side hustle, but you are bringing money. You have to be paying tax. And people don't talk about it. I kind of started it setting it up, imagining like I'm never going to earn that much. Why think that way? Like, I should have been like, no, this could be a business. This could be a profitable business one day, hopefully. Sure, you might not be thinking about it now, but like maybe you want to buy a house later down the road.
Yes.
And like, you can do that. You absolutely can do that being self-employed. But if you have years on the book, you're going to have a way easier time.
You can literally Google how to apply for self-assessment and
there's
what is the tax threshold and it will come up. You'll figure out your questions.
You will figure it out, like how you figured out how to make content. You'll figure it out. And I'm sorry, honey, it's just part of it.
Yep.
It really is.
It's part of being an adult.
And that's, it's a good thing. Woo, you're making money. Well done. I want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. She's only in London for like 2 days and then we're off to Paris tomorrow.
I know, for our 3rd Paris trip together.
Woo! Ooh, I'm so excited. But yeah, she is amazing. Emmy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Again, make sure to check out her ebook for all the tips, templates, rates. Like seriously, if you want to be serious about being an influencer today, go check out her stuff. Go check out the podcast because you go a lot more into depth. Yes. Every week. It's the Talent Managers podcast. You're amazing. Thank you so much for being on the Bloom with Becca podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. What an honor.
Oh, you're so cute.
I'm cuter.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, my loves, for listening to this week's episode of Bloom with Becca. Be sure to follow the Bloom with Becca Instagram page to get involved each week with your questions, your stories, your thoughts on different topics, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys next week for a new episode. Love you. Bye.